LETTER the 40th of Life in Mexico. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Life in Mexico by Francis Calderon de la Barca. Letter the 40th. Balloon. San Bartolo. Indian women. A beauty. Different castes. Indians. Their character, etc. Those of noble race. Ball at the French Minister's. Abisilta. Danger of walking unattended. Shooting party. A murder. Robbery of a farmhouse. Discomfited robber captain. The Zambos. Letters and visitors. Country life in Mexico. 23rd April. We went to Mexico yesterday to see a balloon ascend from the Plaza de Toros, with an aeronaut and his daughter, French people, I believe. The scene was really beautiful. The plaza was filled with well dressed people, and all the boxes crowded with ladies in full toilette. The president was there with his staff, and there were two bands of music. The day was perfectly brilliant, and the streets crowded with handsome carriages, many of them open. The balloon swayed itself up and down in the midst of the plaza like a living thing. Everything seemed ready for the ascent, when it was announced that there was a hole in the balloon, and that consequently there could be no ascent that day. The people bore their disappointment very good-humouredly, although it was conjectured that the air traveller had merely proposed to himself to get their money, without the slightest intention of performing his voyage. One amusing circumstance was, that some penny-a-line rhymer had written an account of it in verse beforehand, giving a most grandiloquent account of the ascent of the balloon, and when we came out, the plaza was full of men selling these verses, which the people were all buying and reading with roars of laughter. The 1st of May being San Felipe, there will be a ball at the French Minister's, to which we shall probably go. 25th. We have just returned from a ride to San Bartolo, an Indian village 4 leagues from this, where we went with a large party, some on horses, some on asses, others on mules, and one adventurous Jehu driving himself in a 4-wheeled carriage, with a pair of horses, over a road formed of ruts, stones, holes, and rocks, where, I will venture to say, no carriage ever made its appearance before. Even the horses and asses got along with difficulty. In spite of large straw hats and green veils, we were burnt the colour of red Indians. In the middle of the day we find the sun intolerable at present, and owing to the badness of the roads, we did not reach our destination until 12 or 1 o'clock. San Bartolo is a small scattered Indian village, with a church, and is remarkable for a beautiful spring of water, that jets cold and clear from the hard rock, as if Moses had but just smote it, for its superb tall pine trees, for the good looks and cleanness of the Indian women, who are for ever washing their long hair in the innumerable clear streamlets formed by the spring, and for a view of Mexico, which is particularly favourable, owing to the thick dark screen of pine wood in the foreground, and the distinct view of the Laguna. Our dinner was carried by Indians who had trotted off with it at day dawn, but who had taken the wrong road and did not arrive till long after us. We dined under the pine trees by the side of the stream, but surrounded by crowds of gaping Indians in too close vicinity to be agreeable. Some of the young women were remarkably handsome, with the most beautiful teeth imaginable, laughing and talking in their native tongue at a great rate, as they were washing in the brooks, some their hair and others their clothes. The men looked as dirty as Indians generally do, and by no means on a level with these handsome damsels, who are so much superior to the common race of Indians near Mexico, that one would think they had some intermixture of Spanish blood in their veins. A sister of the woman who takes charge of the hacienda where we live is one of the most beautiful creatures I ever beheld. Large eyes, with long dark lashes, black hair nearly touching the ground, teeth like snow, a dark but glowing complexion, a superb figure, with fine arms and hands, and small beautifully formed feet. All that is best of Indian and Spanish, of dark and bright, seems united in her. C n says he has seen peasant women in Andalusia in the same style of beauty, and quite as handsome. She is only 19. Such beauties as these startle one every now and then in some remote village. She belongs, no doubt, to the mestizos, the descendants of whites and Indians, the handsomest race in Mexico. You ask if the castes in Mexico are distinct. There are 7 supposed to be so. First, the Gachupinos, or Spaniards born in Europe. Second, the Creoles, that is, whites of European family born in America. Third, the mestizos. Fourth, the mulattoes, descendants of whites and negroes, of whom there are few. Fifth, the Zambos, descendants of negroes and Indians, the ugliest race in Mexico. Sixth, the Indians, and seventh, the remains of the African negroes. Of pure Indians, Humboldt in his day calculated that there existed 2,5 millions in New Spain, without counting mestizos, and they are, probably, very little altered from the inferior Indians as Cortes found them. The principal families perished at the time of the conquest. The priests, sole depositories of knowledge, were put to death. The manuscripts and hieroglyphical paintings were burnt, and the remaining Indians fell into that state of ignorance and degradation from which they have never emerged. The rich Indian women preferred marrying their Spanish conquerors to allying themselves with the degraded remnant of their countrymen. Poor artisans, workmen, porters, etc., of whom Cortes speaks as filling the streets of the great cities, and as being considered little better than beasts of burden, nearly naked in tierra caliente, dressed pretty much as they now are in the temperate parts of the country, and everywhere with nearly the same manners and habits and customs as they now have, but especially in the more distant villages, where they have little intercourse with the other classes. Even in their religion, Christianity, as I observed before, seems to be formed of the ruins of their mythology, and all these festivities of the church, these fireworks and images, and gay dresses, harmonize completely with their childish love of show, and are, in fact, their greatest source of delight. To buy these they save up all their money, and when you give a penny to an Indian child, it trots off to buy crackers, as another would to buy candy. Attempts have been made by their curates to persuade them to omit the celebration of certain days, and to expend less in the ceremonies of others, but the indignation and discontent which such proposals have caused have induced them to desist in their endeavours. Under an appearance of stupid apathy, they veil a great depth of cunning. They are grave and gentle, and rather sad in their appearance, when not under the influence of pulque. But when they return to their villages in the evening, and have taken a drop of comfort, their white teeth light up their bronze countenances like lamps, and the girls especially make the air ring with their laughter, which is very musical. I think it is Humboldt who says that their smile is extremely gentle, and the expression of their eyes very severe. As they have no beard, if it were not for a little moustache which they frequently wear on the upper lip, there would be scarcely any difference between the faces of men and women. The Indians in and near the capital are, according to Humboldt, either the descendants of the former labourers, or are remains of noble Indian families, who, disdaining to intermarry with their Spanish conquerors, preferred themselves to till the ground which their vassals formerly cultivated for them. It is said that these Indians of noble race, though to the vulgar eye undistinguishable from their fellows, are held in great respect by their inferior countrymen. In Cholula particularly there are still caciques with long Indian names, also in Tlaxcala, and though barefoot and ragged, they are said to possess great hidden wealth. But it is neither in or near the capital that we can see the Indians to perfection in their original state. It is only by travelling through the provinces that we can accomplish this, and should the lateness of the season oblige us to remain here any time after another minister arrives, we may probably take a longer journey in some different direction from tierra caliente, where we may see some tribes of the indigenous Mexicans. Certainly no visible improvement has taken place in their condition.